In this video, we're going to continue our emergency preparedness series. Last time, video 1, we talked about our bug out bag. And this time, we're going to talk about the plan, what to do and how to communicate that with your family and household members. Stay tuned. Friday Youth Developer, Patty Zito, your productivity and lifestyle coach at your service. In part 1, you see the link here. We talked about bug out, right? We got to bug out of here. We had number 1, water. Make sure that it's a gallon per person per day. 2, food, keep yourself nourished. 3, a radio to be informed. 4, flashlights. 5, your first aid kit with basic supplies for any emergency. 6, a whistle to get help, or if you're separated, to find each other. 7, extra batteries for your radio and your flashlights. 8, your toiletry bags so you can feel good and stay clean. 9, have a local map. And 10, a backup battery for your cell phone. Now, in today's video, I want to add 2 more items that we talked about it. However, we didn't add it. It was already a long video, and that is 2-way radios and clothes. Hi. In case you need to be out for more than 72 hours. I mean, the job is to get you out and you can stay in your clothes for one night. If it's 2, some of us get really stinky. And by some, I mean my husband. All right, so before Jimmy comes in here and talks about how to read a map, what we want to focus for this video is having a plan. So that means actually getting your household members with a map. Hopefully you could do it in an iPad. Most of the children have phones, so everybody take up your phones and let's decide where we can meet. Having your children's input is a good idea, especially if it's teens, because they will know all the back ways of where to meet without being noticed. So I will say, you have a teen, make sure that their input of where to meet is important. Obviously, as a parent, as the youth developer, you make the last call and decision. So get your family together, and step 1 about maps, it's taking out a map and decide where is going to be your evacuation meeting in case, number 1, there's flooding in your home and you're not able to get to it, as it happened in New York City. Many people were stranded in their cars, and so the whole neighborhood was flooding. So where will you meet if that's the case for you? So number 2, you also want to know if, for example, there is a fire, you have to quickly get out of the house and maybe 2 family members are in the house. Where can the other 2 meet you? So number 2 is make sure you have a location near your neighborhood. I will say around 2 to 3 blocks from your house, or 1 to 3 blocks, depending in your neighborhood. All right. So here is Jimmy to talk to you about on how to read a map.
What's up, guys? Map reading skills. So you want to grab one of these for your local area. So you open it up. One of the first things you're going to notice is that there is basically what's called a legend. Not a legend like just take a really quick look. Okay, it kind of gives you an idea of what everything is. It gives you an idea of what the scale is. So for every one of these little black lines or white lines, right, that's going to tell you how many feet, or one of these things is a mile. So a map like this is really drilled down to like a neighborhood level, versus maybe a bigger map like we have this one over here. Right, this one is more for large scale. So it's going to be giving you not some of the finer details, but a map atlas like this will be perfect for getting you to where you need to go. So you kind of just look through everything. You have your interstates, you have your US routes, you have major auto routes. You have
Every map is different, right? So
every map is different. You usually, once you get familiar with looking at a bunch of them, you can kind of like at a glance tell, oh, that's probably an airport. Green is usually a park, blue is usually water. These little shields, right, are usually like routes or some type of major interstates.
Right.
So you can kind of get an idea. So this one, again, this is going to be on a different scale. This map is, much more broad.
Staten Island.
Yeah, you see Staten Island right here.
Yeah.
Little Richmond, right?
Yeah.
You see Kings over here, or Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Rockland up here, and then this heavy black line is like the state line, right? And this would be Jersey. This is pretty much all Jersey in here. And if you can even see here, the scale right here is 5 miles. So every time I move, I could take a pen top. If I don't, if I don't really have anything, all right, pen top is about 5 miles, maybe 5.25. So I can go around here and I can kind of tell.
That's really cool.
A better way to do it would be like a shoelace or a string. Yeah. So rulers are great, but rulers are only in straight lines, and unfortunately, life is not really in straight lines. I know certain types of personalities want to always color within the lines.
Yeah.
But others like different.
I love your pen top.
I would say more like a rock star personality. No, we don't color in straight lines. But if you use like a shoelace or a string, you can kind of actually tell, like, okay, this road is very curved.
That's really cool.
Right? You can actually kind of get a good guesstimate, which could mean life or death if you're running low on gas.
Thank you for the shoelace, because everybody's got sneakers, right? So pull that out, or take it out of your hair. Use your own hair scrunchie or whatever you need. So that's actually really good, honey. That's good.
Yep. So on a map like this, let's say you lived in Hoboken, right, New Jersey over here, you'd kind of want to find, okay, where am I? Maybe you want to put a nice X on that.
Yes.
Or something. If you have an evacuation route, that's where you'd want to maybe highlight where you're going. North is generally up on a map, is generally up here. South is generally on the bottom, and then east and west.
Could you tell them, if they don't have a compass or anything, how can people know which way is north, south, west, and east?
So generally, it's just something that you should always be paying attention to.
Never pay attention because I'm a Boy Scout, but please teach us.
You can just pay attention to where the sun is. If it's past noon, right, it's probably going towards the west. If it's before noon, it's probably coming up from the east. If it's really south, is kind of like where you get the most sun. So if you're looking like any time of day, where does the sun generally hitting you the most? That's generally from the south.
That's cool.
If it's a cloudy day, there's other tricks you can use that we won't go into now, in terms of like moss on trees and other fun stuff like that. Dirty. Yeah, but pretty much you should always you can kind of have an idea of what's in your mind. So yeah, you see your roads, you see, north, south, east, west, all that fun stuff. And yeah, and you would just want to just know what your evacuation routes are. Things like major highways, you probably want to stay away from, so if I'm trying to come out of, Newark, New Jersey, and I want to go west, right? I know I have the Passaic River and the Hackensack River that are in my way. So what are going to be my crossings that I could use? You see the train tracks here. Okay. Train tracks, maybe not necessarily, you're not going to be able to drive your Honda Civic over that. But hey, maybe, the roads aren't a good option. You need to hoof it out of there. Those are going to be there are bridges there. They're not generally accessible by car, obviously, but that you could, cross with yourself or your family, your friends, or whoever you have with you.
I say that's a huge benefit over a phone. Phone will not tell you about train tracks and bridges and things like that.
Like,
that's really good.
So you can also download your map, and if your cell signal goes down, your GPS is usually still working, because your GPS doesn't deal with the cell towers. It deals with the satellites that are in orbit around the Earth. Stay away from major roads and take all the side streets to your destination. And that is map reading 101.
Woo! Poppy's really happy about it. Thank you, honey. So number two, now that you figure out location, you know how to read a map, you know how to locate and where to go. Number two is to make sure that the whole family has an out-of-state contact. What does that mean? That means, and I'm going to give you an example. New York City had a blackout about 2003. So, wow, that's about 17 years ago. I was working at the YMCA, and I no way to get in touch with my parents nor my sister, and I'm desperately wanting to know if they're okay. So what you want to do is have an out of state contact where you can call. So for us is my cousin. So shout out to Leslie. Thank you again. It's we all call her and we all report, hey Leslie, I'm here at the YMCA. I'm gonna get out of work and I should be home around 5 o'clock. And same thing with my dad. My dad could be at work. He calls and Leslie could say, hey Theo, right? That's uncle. Thea is home. That's auntie. She's home, and Patty and Claudia, da la la, right? But we have one person to contact. So in case we are separated and there is an emergency, we call that one person. So a lot of people say, why do I need one? And power does go out, right? And flooding and hurricanes, the power will go out. And instead of calling every single member, hey, are you okay? Hey, where are you? You call one person and that person is able to say that. So again, thank you, Leslie, for being the designated out-of-state contact. Lastly, in three of the plan, drills, drills, drills. You want to make sure that you are going over this with your family. If we need to bug out of here, what will be the process, right? So step one, grab the bag. Step two, who's driving what car. That's important that every single family member has a responsibility. Again, you have teens, give them responsibility. I get chills because what the youth wants, they want to be needed, they want to help, and they are brighter than us. You want to keep them cool, calm, collective. So doing a drill actually helps with that, because when the moment does come, they will know. And so I know American Red Cross recommends doing this twice a year. Honestly, I want to now start doing this every season. So every season, do a drill. You may call me crazy. Things look very differently here in New York City in the summer than in winter and fall and spring. So, I mean, we may do three, spring and fall, about the same. So make sure there's drills, and the drills are to lower the panic. We're gonna panic. It's gonna happen. However, because you have drills, you'll know what to do. Be specific. All right. Well, that's all three. So in recap, number one, the plan, looking at a map, where you're gonna meet. Number two, decide who's your out-of-state contact. And number three, drills, 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 because drills will lower the panic and people will realize what to do. It's the same thing in sports, right? We do drills, we practice. So when it's game time, your program will know what to do when you practice. So make sure you at least practice twice a year. If you're in a place like ours that changes, do it per season as well. I hope this video was helpful. Please give it a like and pass this down to family and friends, because I truly believe that videos like this can save people's lives.